Ciao ciao from Gina's Bella Cucina. Well, if you've got yeast in your cupboards and flour, you can join me in making this beautiful loaf of bread. We're going to begin by dissolving 1 package of traditional yeast into 1 cup of warm water and add 1 teaspoon of sugar. If you don't have any packages but you buy your yeast in bulk, then you'll need 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. I stir it around and cover it with a cloth and let it get all nice and foamy in a warm place. Should take about 15 to 20 minutes. Once all nice and foamy, pour it into a large bowl. Then you will need to add 1.5 cups of warm water. I use filtered water, I just think it rises better. Then you will need 6 cups of unbleached flour in a separate bowl. And what you will do is you will begin adding the flour and stirring it to your yeast and water mixture until you have approximately 1 cup of flour left in your bowl. At this point, you can add 2 teaspoons of salt and stir it with a fork until the dough begins to come together. This recipe will make 2 large loaves of bread. And once the flour comes together, this is what it'll look like. Then we need to flour our work surface and pour the dough out onto it. And then we will need to begin to knead the dough. There are many methods to kneading. I do use 2 different types of kneading here. The kneading will normally take about 5 to 7 minutes, and you need to do this until the dough is no longer sticky. And we will continue to add flour gradually. So that 1 cup of flour that you've reserved, you will take flour from there and sprinkle on top until the dough is no longer sticky. And as you can see, the dough is still sticky. So I will continue to add flour and continue to knead. Now the goal here is to get a nice smooth dough. Now if you are enjoying my channel and want to see more, please hit the subscribe button right below. It just lets me know that there's interest in what I'm doing. And please feel free to leave a comment. Now I'm going to give it one final really good knead. And I feel like we're almost there. We're going to check it for stickiness. And remember, always make sure to flour your work surface. And there you go. No longer sticky to the touch. And we're just going to form it into a ball and get ready to set it aside to rise in a warmed oven. And this 1/2 cup of flour that I have left, I'll reserve it to use it later. So flour your dough, put it in a bowl to rise. I cover it with a towel and then I put it in the oven that I've warmed up by using the oven light. After about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, the dough has risen beautifully and it's doubled in size. We will gently deflate the dough and flour it. And at this point, we want to cut the dough in half because this does make 2 nice loaves. And what we want to do is we want to shape each half into a round ball. And again, make sure your surface is floured. And what I like to do is I like to grab the ends and bring it all towards the middle. And then turn it over and tuck everything underneath until it makes a beautiful round ball. And you will do the same with the other half. Then you'll need to flour a tray, and both these balls will be placed on the tray. You're going to cover the tray and put it back in the nice warm oven, covered with a cloth, for about 20 minutes. And this is what they look like after 20 minutes. Now I'm going to flour my work surface and it's time to shape the dough. Now there are many shapes that you can give to bread. I'm just going to do a regular loaf. I'm going to start by spreading out the dough And then if you watch carefully, I'm going to fold one end towards the middle and press it down. You want to seal that. And then the other end comes right back over it. And then once again, I'm going to seal tightly and pulling out the ends so that they're all even. And then you want to roll a little to seal that bottom seam. And at this point, if you choose to, you can taper the ends. You can also tuck the ends in underneath. Now, once both loaves are formed, they need to go back into your warm oven for approximately 1 hour for its last rising. I do this by placing them in a cotton towel, which I floured, and then you wrap the loaf in the towel. This helps the loaf maintain its shape. Now I thought I would experiment and make olive bread with one of my loaves. I had a jar of olives with the pits in the fridge, and I just carved the olive away from the pit. And then I simply took those olive pieces and pressed them evenly throughout the dough. And then I followed the same procedure as I did for the other one in rolling it. I brought half of the dough towards the middle, pressed it down, and then took the other half and brought it over. Make sure you've got flour there underneath, and then press the seam in, and then roll it out. And once again, if you want the ends tapered, you can just roll out the ends. And then once you're done shaping the second loaf, you will have to place it in a floured towel and wrap it up in that towel. Then both loaves will go into the oven for an hour for its last rising. Now you can also shape your dough by placing them in one of these Banneton bamboo baskets if you've got one. After an hour, the loaves have risen beautifully, and it's time to score. You will need a very sharp knife and just cut 4 slices diagonally, maybe about 1 centimeter deep into the dough. I've put my bread on some parchment paper just so it slides easily into my stone pan that I have in the oven already heating up to 400 degrees. I also put a pan of water into the oven along with my bread. It'll give it a crispier crust. Doesn't that look gorgeous? And here they are, 2 beautiful loaves of bread. I've removed them from the pan and placed them onto a cooling rack, and the color underneath is perfect. Now take a serrated knife and let's cut in there. And after 25 minutes in a 400 oven, you've got crunchy on the outside and beautifully tender on the inside. Doesn't that look absolutely delicious? And let's cut open the olive bread. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed as there clearly are not enough olives in there. But that's a lesson learned for next time. After they're completely cooled, you can freeze one loaf if you like for future use or not. Now this recipe is egg-free and dairy-free, and you can always use vegan margarine or butter. You can go to Gina's Bella Cucina YouTube channel for more dairy-free, egg-free recipes. Ciao, ciao.